We are always on this perpetual state of redefining ourselves. If we take, inventory of our lives rather, and look at different stages of our lives, when you were confronted with a decision to redefine yourself. When you're a kid, it seems like that's every other month. There's a story that Jim Carrey talked about, and it was actually about his dad. To Jim Carrey, his dad was the most entertaining guy in the world. He was funny. He was a comedian. He was an entertainer. He loved to play music, and he's Canadian, so they always knew, like, if his dad wanted to make it big, they had to come down to the States. But his dad, for some reason, felt, well, not for some reason, I think we all, as parents, feel this pressure to put our dreams aside and be responsible, right? Quote unquote responsible, and drop our dreams and get a job that will for sure take care of our families, and not judging anyone either way, either decision. But his father decided to become a CPA instead. And at the age of I believe 50, his dad was fired from his, long job, long career as a CPA. And so for Jim, like he realized that, and this is a quote, he said, "I learned that you could fail at what you don't love. So you might as well do something you love. There's really no choice to be made. Take a chance at being loved or hated for who you really are, or you're gonna have to kill who you really are and fall into your grave grasping onto a character who you never really were." We are in a constant state of, what I say, perpetual state of redefining ourselves. And we all had different versions of how life was supposed to be when we were kids. And we've all kind of created our lives through how we defined ourselves. And I wanted Katie Wisely to come on the show today and talk about how she redefined herself and how she took a chance on herself, and is now in a place where she is flourishing. Obviously, she's juggling also family, career, and all that. So I'd like for her just to kind of talk about that, and then I know Mike had some stuff to add. So Katie, thanks for being on and giving us your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's quite an honor. Hearing you define me as someone that just redefined themselves, I kind of never even, like, as you're saying it, I'm like, I'll be darned, I did.
Yeah.
And it was very unintentional in the sense of, just to back up a little bit, I moved here to Austin about 4 years ago with my family, born and raised in San Diego. I have 4 kids and a husband, and my husband had a thriving estate planning business with Wells Fargo, and I had a thriving community event, Carmel Valley 5K, that raised money for the schools and brought the entire community together. So everything was going good. We were not running from anything other than kind of how you said, sometimes as parents you make sacrifices because you think, well, maybe something's better. And we felt like moving to Austin would open more doors for our children, for us. It was a little bit different lifestyle that we wanted our kids to grow up with, and there was a good job opportunity for my husband. So wrap all that up, and we decided to take the plunge and leave a great life that we had. Like, we were not, I can't stress that enough, we were not running from anything. We literally, all my family, friends, everything are still there in San Diego. Well, that's not true. A handful followed me. But anyway, so moved here and was a stay-at-home mom and tried to continue the event from afar, and felt like I knew right away the passion was gone, and that event was very passion-driven. And so I just felt like I had to let it go because I was doing it a disservice and it was stressing me out.
Well, I want to step in here real quick because I don't think anybody understands what you actually did in Carmel Valley. This lady, Katie, actually put together this 5K from scratch. I was actually a part of it because we did a little video for it. This was like, I
Yep.
don't know, years ago. And you every year you raised like thousands of dollars, thousands. I don't know, like I don't know your total. Maybe you can share that. But for the educational system there, and and you left that. There was a lot of rewarding, fulfilling aspects of your of that that you had to let go. And I know you were so passionate about it. You lived and breathed it every day. And I remember, your whole family, everybody was just happy. You guys had a good life, and your
Yeah.
husband was successful and still successful. But here it takes a lot of guts to say we're leaving. I mean, a really almost a dream life, right?
Yep.
In hopes of creating an even better life.
Yep. And fast forward, it is. It was the best move we ever made. So yeah, we got here and we started realizing that we could have. My husband has always wanted to invest in real estate, and he's a big fan of passive income, which I am too. And kind of the rich dad, poor dad, have your money work while you're sleeping, make money while you're sleeping type of mentality. And we could do that here. We could have done it there too. We just didn't know we could. We didn't have anyone here to open that up for us. And so we started realizing, gosh, we can buy a house for under $200,000, rent it out, and so on and so on. So as we're starting to look at real estate, I had an epiphany kind of like, why don't I just get my license? And I had flirted with it in San Diego. My brother is a very successful realtor in San Diego, high net worth clients, and I guess maybe subconsciously I knew I would always be in his shadow and didn't want to compete with that. I don't know that I knew that then, but I know that now. And coming here and seeing the real estate opportunities for us and seeing the insane growth that was going on here, it reminded me a lot of San Diego 25 years ago.
And
So I decided, good.
no, I was just going to say, and at what point did you, when you were going through the process, let's, you get there. There's probably a lot of discomfort. You're adjusting. The kids are adjusting. So that's probably an early stage. But how are you able to, push through that initial discomfort, or maybe there wasn't. Maybe it went a little different than I'm thinking in my head.
Well, there was a little bit, but we got lucky. Our kids were all on board. I jumped into a Bible study called Just Moved, and it was a group of women that had all just moved, whether far or from Houston. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what your age was. You're new, and you walked through what you were going through for about 8 weeks with these women. And I will say my family had it very easy. We embraced it. People said we were more Texan than Texans because we went everywhere. We explored. I don't know why we got so lucky, but we did, compared to a lot of people I've seen and still know to this day that have struggled with that move. I think my kids adjusting really well was a huge piece there.
Yeah.
So we got lucky, that could have gone south, obviously.
Right.
And so everyone, we didn't jump right into best friends. There was definitely struggles. And I think that's part of what pushed me into getting a job was I was home alone. Like I went from having friends on every corner in San Diego to not knowing anyone and being
Right.
almost invisible for a little while. And that was kind of part of I need to do something. So I think it was a combination of a lot of things coming together all at the same time that pushed me to get my license. But I was not going to be a licensed realtor to sell real estate to the general public. I was doing it just so that we could buy real estate and get the commission. That was my plan. And the day that I passed the real estate exam, I had posted on Facebook, because I'm a Facebook junkie, and I posted on there and just said, like, oh my gosh, I passed. And
That's
literally
awesome.
within 5 minutes, I got a private message from a football dad that was like, perfect timing, I'm looking to buy a house.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The power of social media and the power of sharing your story. That's that's key. I mean, a lot of times people think, "Oh, social media is kind of a waste of time." I look at it as a way that you share your story, and your story connects with people, and then you can serve people. You can serve your
Yeah.
clients. And I will add real quick is I think what was important about your move was one, you were all on board. You were all in agreement. Everybody had a clear, goal. Everybody was in agreement. So there was no push there. And then when you got there, you dove into the community. So you didn't just sit down and expect things to happen. You said, no, we're going to go out. We're going to go explore. We're going to dive in. We're going to create roots. We're going to go connect with people. And so by tapping into what the communities and the groups that were there already, you were able to have that move be much more streamlined, much more less of a bumpy road. And because your kids were all in agreement, there wasn't this back and forth of like, hey, we're dragging you here. So that's important. I would love to kind of talk about, fast forward to now, because it's awesome that you are now seeing like, wow, I really did redefine myself. And when I heard you moved, I was like, wow, like you're to me, you were always somebody that had everything, together, and you guys still do. But I'm just saying, like, why would somebody leave? But then sometimes what we think is the best, we sometimes we get comfortable there, and we don't take a chance of having something even better, right?
That's
and
right.
and and you took a chance. You redefined yourself, and obviously your husband had to do some work in that too, and your kids. But like, how let's fast forward to now. Like, you're there, you've created roots, your kids are flourishing, you're flourishing. Like, now you're having probably your routine, your what you're doing in the mornings, how you're succeeding now in the current market. So, take me through your daily, your morning routine, like we talked about a little bit, and how you're able to shift. You had to really, you're like, I'm kind of boring actually. I'm like, no, but you're keeping it super simple, and you're effective. And a lot of times, I tend to be more like in the clouds, like, oh, like, hey, this, but getting people like you to come on to talk about things that are like actionable items that people can actually execute on is key. So if you could share that, and just, again, it's about sharing your story, because somebody can hang on to something that you're saying and apply to their lives. And then, you've enriched somebody's lives, just by speaking today.
Yeah, so I've read Miracle Morning. I've tried to adopt all of these fantastic ideas to my mornings, and maybe I kind of end up like taking little bits and pieces of everything. The biggest takeaway is I took a course called Ninja Selling, and it talks about, it's all sales, real estate related, but it talks about becoming a better, ways to become more effective and a better salesperson. And one of the things that struck me in that was starting your day with, before you open your email, anything you do, either think about your gratitudes, write down your gratitudes, and or read something positive. So whether it's a Bible verse or a motivational thing, or even like the Jim Carrey story, something to move you. Start your day off just with that. Because I can tell you right now, if I get caught off guard and I sleep in and I roll out of bed in a rush and I try to jump into stuff, my entire day is out of whack.
Oh, I understand. That's
So,
key.
right? For me, it's a perfect morning would be I wake up before my house. My husband actually wakes up before me and goes to the gym, so I have the house to myself quiet. I enjoy a cup of coffee. I sit there, I read. I actually get a daily email from Ninja Selling. So I'll click that email, open it, and there's typically a motivational quote in there, a story. Sometimes I'll dabble in reading, like just something about the market, and it will motivate me, inspire me some way to maybe talk to another client, some way, some fashion. But just not diving into work and not diving into personal drama or school emails or whatever it is. Text messages I try not to touch first thing in the morning either, because I'm trying to start my day with a clear head. Once I finish that first cup of coffee, it's game on. And it's like I do a load of laundry, I start checking emails, I'm responding to text messages, and I'm going from there. But it really is keep it simple for me and sit. I literally sit at my island in my chair, kick my feet up, drink my cup of coffee, and try to read something motivational. And sometimes I'll just sit there and think or pray or whatever I need to do, just kind of in my thoughts, give thanks to something, to someone.
Totally.
Figure out what I'm grateful for.
So a lot of agents here. We'll wrap up. I know Mike's got something that he wants to ask, but we want to keep these kind of short so people can grab, like you said, get their inspiration and get on with their day. But I wanted to just mention Ninja Selling is a huge I don't know if you whatever trend that's going on, but I love it. I feel like I need to pick it up. Every agent I talk to that's successful has picked it up, and Mike's even read it, right, Mike?
Yeah, I've read Ninja Selling. I spent a week. With about 60 agents going through the Ninja Selling courses just recently. So I really find that Ninja Selling is a refined way of being a real estate professional. But in addition to it's really helping and helped me, improve the quality of my life on a personal side as well. Because, one thing that I see that Ninja, helps reinforce is that you're not a really good representative of your customer if your personal life's a wreck, if you're unhealthy and ill, or if you're broke and your finances are out of control. So, Ninja helps us become a better individual, thus allowing us to have the strength and power to become a good representative of our potential and current clients. So, Ninja's really takes a lot of people to the next level when it comes to their real estate careers. And Katie, thanks a lot for sharing your story today. There's a lot of people out there that I talk to on a regular basis that have been debating moving from, California, basically. And, the fear of the unknown, the concern about their social life and where it's going to go, how they're going to rebuild their career and or maintain cash flow are huge topics of concern with a lot of individuals. So I look forward to sharing your story with others as I continue to have these conversations with people here in San Diego. So thanks a lot for sharing.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Yeah, I mean, pleasure's mine, and I have clients all the time relocating from California, Chicago, East Coast, and it is a fear. I mean, I cannot stress it enough. Why didn't I do this sooner? We now own 5 investment properties, a couple short-term, like VRBOs. All of that is now paying for our mortgage. I mean, it's like the opportunities that opened up by taking this risk is just mind-blowing, kind of. And
that's awesome.
It is, and I always encourage people. And I think kind of what David was saying earlier. When we moved here, a lot of people try to reinvent what they had here. And probably anywhere, right? Like you're trying to live in the same house in the same type of neighborhood with the same type of shops. Like, don't do that. it's an adventure. So we moved here, we jumped in, and we embraced the culture of Texans and Austinites, and really tried to fall in love with everything around here, and it worked as a result.
One thing that I pulled out of my business class a long time ago was the only constant in business and life is change. And it's how you adapt to it, and how you embrace that change really makes a difference. I mean, you could resist and fight against it, and corporate's not going to like you because you're always fighting, and or your family or your finances are always going to fight against you because you're fighting against the change. And sometimes as that push-pull comes back to topic again, you have to just be aware of what's pulling you, what's pushing you, and what your next move needs to be. So really need to hear. And, David, I mean, Katie's taking all the words out of my mouth today. So, I mean,
that's awesome. No,
Sorry.
She, like I said, her story is awesome because it shows the courage, right? The courage, like if you even take her story and in a micro kind of way, we all experience that type of move every day, right? Like, how are we moving to the next place where we need to become the person that we need to be? And so I encourage, everybody to, like we were saying, like, turn within. You got to fill your cup first before you can serve your community, and then jump in, like take a risk, on yourself, right? And that doesn't mean you have to move. It just means take a risk on the next step. Just take the next step, right? Whatever that is, whether that's internal growth, whether that's I'm going to make a phone call to somebody I need to rekindle a relationship with, or it's, hey, I need to be vulnerable and say sorry to somebody. Whatever it is, like, fill your cup so you can serve others. Be open to redefining yourselves. Don't, like Mike said, don't push on the change, because change is coming. It's comfortable. When things get comfortable, expect to change. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. That's how we continue to become the people we're meant to become. So, Katie, thanks so much for being on today. And looks like we have to have you back to talk about some of the ways you're creating wealth.
Yeah, go cash flow quadrant. It really does work.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I would love to come back. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, likewise. All right, you both have a great day. All the listeners, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for
Thanks,
another
guys.
episode tomorrow.
Talk to you all soon. Nice to talk to you, Katie.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.